Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Liberty Traders podcast. Today, we will be diving into what we know so far about the infamous crypto mixer TornadoCash and the threat of legal action that many developers are facing. Could this be the beginning of the end for privacy on the blockchain? Maybe only time will tell. TornadoCash is a website and smart contract that describes itself as a privacy tool. Often called a crypto mixer, these tools are sometimes used by criminals for money laundering and fraud. TornadoCash represents a break in the traceable path of your money through the blockchain. TornadoCash is an open source protocol, meaning that anyone can contribute to or deploy its code. It's non-custodial, meaning that it doesn't hold onto any user's funds. It doesn't have administrators that could see who was using the application or freeze transactions, and its founders burn the cryptographic keys needed to decrypt anonymous transactions on the platform. For these reasons, the US Treasury put TornadoCash on the SDN list, which stands for Specially Designated National, a classification typically reserved for terrorist organizations and nation-states. This means everyone is forbidden from interacting with people or things on this list, meaning if you send money to TornadoCash in America, you could be liable as a criminal and put in jail for up to 30 years. But here's where it gets tricky. Although the US government implies that only criminals use TornadoCash, that's simply not true. According to Chainalysis, only 10% of the funds received by TornadoCash were stolen, and about 17% came from sanctioned sources, meaning the other 73% of funds received by TornadoCash were probably not criminal. A normal person who isn't breaking the law may be understandably interested in having a tool available that benefits their financial privacy. Because crypto is highly traceable through the blockchain, all of your transactions are listed publicly. If you don't want to share that information with anyone who cares enough to look into your transfer history, it's nice to have a safeguard against that. Although since TornadoCash is so good at hiding the flow of money, this ban was basically inevitable. As it stands, there's no tool the US government possesses that would allow them to track funds through TornadoCash, even if they could prove that the funds were stolen. That doesn't mean that its founders didn't attempt to comply with financial regulations when asked. In April, TornadoCash began working with blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis to block addresses sanctioned by OFAC, following a particularly high-profile hack orchestrated by the North Korea-backed Lazarus Group, but they were limited by what they could do beyond basically screening the protocol's front-end website. Last Friday, Dutch authorities arrested someone who allegedly helped build the open-source TornadoCash. The person was a 29-year-old male and apprehended in Amsterdam. We know the Dutch financial regulators opened a criminal investigation into the service in June. The coder was only suspected of helping decode TornadoCash, and likewise only suspected of involvement in concealing criminal financial flows and facilitating money laundering, according to the Dutch Fiscal Information and Investigation Service. For years, crypto coders have acted with uncertainty. There are certain things about writing code that are pretty clear in the US. Merely publishing code on its own is almost always legal if it's an original idea, even for controversial things. Code is a language, cryptography is speech, and the government is constitutionally prevented from banning its production under regulations. It gets cloudy when you move beyond the act of writing. An example being putting the code of TornadoCash to real-world use. This isn't the first time a privacy app developer has been arrested. Last year, the U.S. Department of Justice arrested Roman Sterlingoff, the owner and operator of crypto mixer Bitcoin Fog, for allegedly assisting in money laundering. But how often are inventors held liable if their systems are misused? As Mike Dudas pointed out, MasterCard and Swift help process fraudulent transactions every day. The question for coders might be where this stops, and where does building a privacy-preserving app cross the line into implicating yourself with money laundering? Bloomberg's Matt Levine has a catchphrase: everything is securities fraud, because anything could be considered securities fraud under the broad definition under which the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission operates. Gary Gensler, the SEC chairman, uses what he calls a duck test to determine what is or isn't a security. It's essentially an instinctual decision. When it comes to crypto mixers, the warning shot fired on TornadoCash is clear. It's unlikely that someone can use an application like this and expect it to legally hide ownership. Even if it's up to users what to do with the app in the end, there's still someone implementing the code, and those people are in danger of being arrested no matter how good their intentions were. Thank you everyone for tuning into this podcast and update. You can like and subscribe to the channel for more podcast episodes. If you would like to get to know us better, you can follow the Liberty Traders social media accounts or join our Discord server. You can find that information in the description or at libertytraders.net. Bye for now.